Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hand Steel Boxing!
Welcome back, everybody, to End Steel Boxing, where we cover all things boxing in Australia and around the world. Welcome back from the little hiatus that we had. I went to Europe, so happy days. But today, I'm met in the venue with Michael King, a dear friend of mine that I have known for many years and a very, very fine boxing mind. Michael, how are you today, sir?
Good, thanks. Very good.
Yeah?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Now, very, very fortunately, you've been overseas for quite a little bit of time now, you know, picking up some boxing stuff overseas, which we'll go into a bit later. But right now, and a couple of days ago, should I say, that you actually came to a no limit show, the Nikita Tsyzu versus Koen Mazoudier in the ICC no limit card.
Yep.
Darling Harbour in Sydney. You actually happened to get some tickets there. Tell me, what was the atmosphere like?
Really good, actually. Really good turnout. Crowd was really good. Yeah, it was a great event. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I know. Man, I tell you what, I was fortunate enough to get some ringside seats. Well, when I say that, like media seats, because we're working that particular show, which you can catch on our social media platform here, in Instagram specifically, for a lot of the interviews that we did do, behind the scenes stuff. And I was right next to the ringside there. Fantastic view. And I tell you what, man, the atmosphere was definitely electric.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like at the moment, number one Australian promoter at the moment.
No limit?
No limit.
Yeah, totally agree, for sure. Yeah, no, they've done wonders. It's been really good. And it's only going to get better, I think. So yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's been a rebirth of Australian boxing over the last 3 or 4 years.
Would 100% agree, definitely. A lot of good things are happening. A lot of good fighters coming up. Yeah, it's only going to get better. And it's actually very exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
finally put us on the maps, because I definitely know a lot of American boxers and English boxers. They're like, oh, what's the reputation of Australian and Australian fighters over there? They're like, oh, they're tough.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And
that's
I'm like,
always been the cliche. Yeah,
I'm like, tough is cool,
Yeah,
but tough doesn't always mean world champions.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. But I feel like we're coming into that space now where we're competing. Well, more than competing. Like we've got world champions, and a lot of relevant fighters. It's coming along nicely.
And in this particular episode, we're going to break down a lot of these Australian champions and where they're going to go and just our take on those. But before that, while it's fresh in everybody's mind, let's go over that card a little bit. Just a couple of fights that I think are definitely noteworthy on the Koen Mazoudier versus Nikita Tsyzu fight. One fighter which we definitely had interviews with, and he's actually a top bloke. He's actually hilarious. The man from Essex himself, Billy Polkinghorne. Talk to me about that guy. Like, I know you're watching his fight.
Yep.
What was your initial take on him?
So first time I seen him fight, I believe he's only just become professional as well. But really liked the way he fought. Sat in the pocket, rolled a lot of shots, came back with some really nice counters. Looked a lot better than what his experience would suggest. Yeah, really enjoyed that fight. And the guy he fought was quite competitive too. Like, I do think Billy was in control for most of the fight. But it was a really good fight. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And the cool thing about, no limit shows is that often they'll do some pretty good matchups.
Yes.
I think in that particular fight as well, like you can put Billy up against, just some bum and he'll just smoke him, but I think that does the fighter a misservice.
Agreed. Yeah.
In the sense that, he wants the competition.
Yep.
Now, I was ringside and I'm not sure if it was completely captured. Well, I don't think it ever is. That feeling of the intensity of the punches that his opponent was throwing. I'll tell you what, he was throwing some big punches, like those counters that he was having. Yeah. When Billy would come on the inside, he was rolling, always that, that half step away, that constant pressure, very Lomachenko-esque.
Yes, definitely.
That he'd throw a counter and like if that hit, that causes damage. But Billy just boom, roll it.
Yeah.
Counter.
Yeah. He showed a lot of experience. And like I said, like well beyond what the record suggests at this stage of his career. Yeah, looked really good. I really enjoyed like slipping the two and coming back with the rear uppercut. It was really nice. He was landing that a bit. Yeah, it was cool to see.
Man, and his hands are quick, aren't they?
They are.
Man,
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see him come up for sure.
Exactly. And I believe my memory serves me correctly. It was Glenn Jennings, his manager.
Okay. Yep.
And we're talking after the fight there. We had a little bit of an interview, which you can catch on Instagram. And he was very, very happy, but they want him fighting heaps. They want to keep him very active, and they want to take him overseas ASAP.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely.
Yeah, the guy's got the upside, world champion upside.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's kind of the energy I got from him too when I watched him fight. I'm like, he's showing all the telltale signs that would suggest that he could go a long way. Yep.
And you know what? On top of that, he's actually a really funny guy. He's like a little bit, I'm not going to say quirky, but he's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah, cool.
And he's just like a real chilled guy. And he's like, yeah, man, that's good. Oh, God, I'm doing the accent again. That's not how he sounds.
He's not Jamaican, bro.
But this is how it's going to be. He's like, we saw him just before he came out on that show. I'm like, hey, you feeling, Billy? He's like, yeah, man, feeling good.
Oh, man.
That's Jamaican, yeah. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm feeling good, calm, collected. And he was stalking around. Because he's actually genuinely like a nice guy.
Yeah, okay.
But he was stalking around just before that fight, like that switch, that fighter mentality and that switch. He's stalking like a lion. I'm like, I would not want to fight this guy right now.
He looked in the zone in that fight. He looked, locked in for sure.
Locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really good fight, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And the, what's another noteworthy one? Nights Out. No.
Nights Out?
What's his name? 3, 2, 1. Let's just have a look to clarify because I do not want to do him a misservice. Sunny Night and then Laban Stringer.
Yes.
That fight. The guy with the Laban Stringer was the guy with the tattoo on the back of his head, the what is it called? The barcode. And it was like a full all action fight.
Okay, yeah. I might have missed that one.
Yeah, okay, you did miss it. Well, it was an all action fight.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. Go back and look at it. Yeah, because you came a bit, halfway through the main card or something.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what, that was red hot. I did interview him afterwards and he was like a bit battered. Mm-hmm. And these guys were just going 1 for 1, and it was it was a pretty good card. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, it was. Yeah, like I seen I think the last 4 fights by the time I got there, and they were all great. Maybe 4 or 5 actually. They were all very good competitive fights. Like you mentioned, No Limit does a great job at getting good matchups. You know, they don't just match up like good fighters with bums. Like they're always competitive fights. So, it's really good.
No, 100%. And you know what? I think it's just gone leaps and bounds in the sense that there's more and more competitive fighters here.
Yes,
as well. And
very true.
And I think they have more opportunities now, and they all want to come on, a big national/international card on No Limit, totally and then they're like, okay, let's do it. And then also one of the other ones was the Irish fella, Connor Wallace, who was and they were doing the IBF light heavyweight title eliminator. Yep. He got the win.
It was a good fight. Yep.
He's quite crafty.
Yeah.
Tell you what, the energy this guy had after his win.
Yeah.
It was like, here we go. I think I could do an Irish accent.
Okay.
Right. This is going to destroy my relationship with him, with Connor. He's like,
sorry,
man,
everyone.
I'm fucking
This is better.
I'm the fucking best, mate. Nah, a couple of lads here, I'm coming for you. And I think it's Arthur Betterbeeve. I think he's now the mandatory for
IBF.
So maybe? IBF, that's right, light heavyweight.
Yep.
And I'm like, look at him. He's number 2 in the world now.
Okay, wow. Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, and Betterbeeve is
jeez, that's a monster right there in Betterbeeve.
Man, and he's like, I fucking love a scrap.
Yeah.
Irish people love a scrap. That was him. That was definitely a pretty close to verbatim quote.
Yeah.
But I'm like 100%. He was tough, man. He got hit with some big shots.
Man. Yeah, he did.
Like Pampalone.
Yeah. And that
New Zealand guy
throw too.
Oh.
Yeah. He landed some big shots as well. And every time he had him backed up in the corners and on the ropes, he sat there and took some shots. Probably a bit more than what he needed to take, but still showed his heart. You know what I mean?
Showed chin.
Yeah, 100%. And he moved well. He fought well going backwards. You could see he was trying to set up the step back game and like try and counter with the uppercut and stuff. And he got it a couple times. The right hand was there too, moving back. The jab was good. Like he boxed well. The other fighter's name? Pampalone. He had some moments too, I thought. He looked good. He faded a bit towards the end. He was trying to set up the overhand right all night. had some success with it.
That was a big overhand right as
Yeah,
well.
there was a few.
It was
man,
hellacious.
Yeah, like a few times he only just missed, and if it landed, like it would have knocked half the crowd out, along with Wallace. So, yeah, yeah,
Hey, New Zealand boy as well.
tough.
You know what? Honestly, going off the game plan, what I saw,
Yep.
it would, to me, because he had a big height advantage there and he can use it. He's actually quite a good mover as well,
Yeah.
Connor Wallace.
Yeah.
What I found and what I might have thought, I didn't actually get to speak to Pamplona afterwards, but I feel like they would have been like, listen, this guy's a really good boxer. He's got a height advantage on us and he's using his reach. He can use his reach.
Yeah.
It may be the case in which we have to go out in the first 4 rounds. We have to smoke him.
Yeah.
We have to catch him early. We have
Yep.
to really put it on him.
set the pace.
Yep. Set the pace.
Close the
and
gap.
then if it's
Yep.
going to go to the second half of the fight, he's going to pull away with it.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been the case. I may be wrong,
Yep.
but he dealt with that pressure well.
He did.
Connor Wallace.
Yeah.
He took the shots, showed chin,
Yep. Yep.
and he just ran away with the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. He did. He did. He won. I had him winning probably 10 out of the 12 rounds, maybe. There were moments where Pamplona looked good and did some good things, but the majority of the rounds did go to Wallace. Yeah.
And it was a unanimous decision, if I'm not mistaken, which I found very peculiar.
It was split, no?
Split. Sorry, no, it was split.
Yeah.
But I feel like it should have been
No,
UD.
yeah, I was very surprised to see a split decision. There was no way. Like I said, I gave Wallace 10 rounds, and I think it'd be hard to give Wallace any less than 8, honestly. Like, like 10's probably right. So split doesn't seem right at all. I even think Pamplona was kind of surprised, to be honest. But, don't get me wrong, he felt like he did the best he could, but there's no way he got the split.
Big Pampy, yeah.
Yep.
No, that's fair. But yeah, I agree with you, man.
Yep.
Like it should have been unanimous decision,
Yep.
and it was just peculiar in that spot. And then obviously like the big controversy with Zarafa and Tommy Brown.
Yeah.
So like he's obviously blown his Tommy Brown blown his left bicep.
Yep.
I checked him out afterwards. Did an interview post fight.
Yep.
Just sitting down cruising. And I saw it, and like it was fully retracted.
Yeah.
Because like before, you know, like you get like an older fighter versus like someone they want to set up for Nikita Tsyzu.
That's exactly right.
And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, listen, come in. You know, yeah, you're injured. You know, you see it with some of these, you know, potentially other fighters where they're just here for like, you know, a payday, and then it's like, I don't want to get annihilated. You know, I want to save a bit of brain. But this was genuine. His bicep was done.
Yeah.
And I would even give him the first round.
I was about to say,
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So as Rafa come out strong, tried to dog walk him. Worked out pretty quick that wasn't going to work out. And I felt like Brown landed a couple of nice right hands and got his respect. And then Zarafa just went back to sort of sticking and moving and sort of had to reset a bit. And I probably gave him the first round too. Yeah. I think so.
The old head. He was going to wind
yeah.
it back, but he just got injured. And that's just a damn shame.
I don't know how he would have gone like in later rounds. I don't know. He might have faded. Like
Looked in good shape.
he did look good. Yep. I do still think Zarafa probably was going to get him done. Probably get him out of there. But who knows? Like, yeah, it's a shame he got injured because it was setting up for probably a decent fight. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? On top of that, as much as people like hate Zarafa and he plays the villain card,
Which I like.
I do like it.
Yeah.
And it's something that Australian boxing has been missing
Since Mundine.
since Mundine. That's right.
Yes.
And the things with Australian boxers is that they are so, it's a relatively small community amongst the pros.
Yeah.
And they're all very respectful. But, in America and overseas and like, UK, they have the ability to, almost burn bridges a little bit.
Yeah,
And like, oh, screw these guys from Essex.
Yeah, it's a
the
bigger game,
Manchester
yeah.
boys, whatever.
That's right.
Because they've got their little communities,
Very
you know.
true. Yeah.
And they can do that, can talk a lot more shit, as opposed to Australia where it's a smaller community and they're like, they don't want to do that and respectful. And there's something about, they just don't do it as much. But that's to their own detriment, I think, because people want the drama. And that's what
it,
Zarafa
man.
brings.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it was great that No Limit picked him up because he'd come in, he's talking crap. Tommy Brown did a good job as well.
Yeah.
And he's a very respectful guy,
He
but
is,
he leaned into it as well.
He did a little. Yeah, that's right.
He goes
yeah.
like, your last fight against Lara.
Yeah.
You're a girl. You
Yeah,
quit.
call
I'm
him a
like,
quitter. Yeah,
"Whoa,"
that's
I'm like,
pretty
drama.
heavy. Yeah.
And I go, I want to watch this.
Yeah.
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 But it was great for the card.
100%.
Afterwards, what happened was a bit crazy as well.
Yeah, I looked away briefly in between the round, and then I looked back up, and then I think it was Brown's coach, got in the ring, and then Zarafa was
going off at him.
Yeah, they were going back and forth, and Zarafa was posturing up a bit, and there was a bit of back and forth, and then I think Zarafa's brother, I believe, might have jumped in the ring at some point, and then they just kicked off.
Yeah, bang, cracked him.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know, don't quote me, but I think maybe Zarafa might have said something about him quitting potentially. Brown being a quitter.
Yeah.
Because he probably got under his skin when Brown called him a quitter after the Lara fight. I don't know. You know, he's probably burning about that maybe a little bit. And there was a bit of back and forth maybe there. And then, I don't know, like it just kicked off. But I mean, it's good entertainment, right? Like,
Listen, if I'm going to break it down, Michael King, Zarafa's brother jumps into the ring.
Yeah.
Okay, sits there. Now, listen, he postures up. I didn't like how he delivered the right hand. He didn't quite have.
I thought his timing was good, just quickly.
The timing was good, but listen, the footwork wasn't there. He didn't quite set up the punch enough. Listen, it was a good shot.
That's true.
But it was a bit of an arm punch.
If I'm right. And he probably overextended a bit. His chin was out there a little, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like, listen, if he saw it coming, he would have bang slipped, uppercut.
Yeah. He's
had
lucky
options.
to get that away.
Yeah, listen, I'm like, listen, I'm not sure what his upside is.
Yeah.
Zarafa's brother, I'm not sure what it is, but I'd like to see his following fight. It won't be at a No Limit show because he's been banned for life.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
But we might catch it out the front of a pub one time.
Something, yeah.
And that's just my thoughts initially. Yeah, anyway, but that had potential, but it's obviously, fallen apart, and that particular fight fell apart due to injury. Yeah. But he's now set up to go against
Nikita, I think.
Nikita Tsyzu.
Yeah, I think that's what they want to do. They want to move that way, and it does make sense. I think.
Signed contract. Whoever was going to win that, Tommy Brown was mentioning it in post weigh-in conference. That after that he will be. They had a 2-fight contract, and whoever would win that fight
gets Nikita.
Yep.
Oh, there you go then. Oh, well, that's good. That's exciting. Yeah, for sure. I know Zarafa though. He fights middleweight, right? 160.
Yeah. He's come down.
Nikita, was that fight at 160 against Brown? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, he looked bigger than Nikita.
I remember now.
Because I've seen both of them on the night, obviously, and he looked bigger than Nikita. So, I don't know, maybe it was...
Even Koen Mazoudier looked bigger than Nikita.
He did. Yeah, they fought at 154, right? Yeah, that fight. I'm pretty sure it was at welterweight, super welter. Yeah, I think... I mean, I want to see the fight, but I don't know if they'll do a catch weight or how that'll work. I'm sure they can make that work, though. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight for Australian boxing. Good, big domestic fight, definitely. And probably going to be pretty competitive too. Not sure how it'll go.
Zarafa's a pretty good counter fighter.
Yeah, I like Zarafa. I think for the most part he's a pretty good boxer. And I think him versus Nikita is definitely a good fight to make. Nikita's come a long way too between his last fight. Sorry, his fight before and his most recent fight. He's looked good. So that'll be a good fight for sure.
Yeah, he spent just 6 weeks over in the US with Tsyzu.
Yes,
his brother. And he's working on some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He said it's going to be on display.
Yeah.
Listen, I think he got better. I think defensively he got better.
100%.
He looks a bit more Tsyzu-esque.
Yeah, definitely. Or even I'd say a little bit more Costa-Tsyzu as well, almost with the countering as well.
Both these boys throw great uppercuts.
They do,
They're
man.
quite looping.
Yeah,
and I'm like
they generate a lot of power in close range. It's very impressive. You can tell he worked on that a lot. His defense was better. His movement was good. I thought he did really well against Coen. Yeah, I do think though they didn't expect Koen to come forward as often as he did and put as much pressure. He was relentless. He did not take a backward step. It was actually impressive. He just kept coming forward. He got his fair share of shots off. It was very tough. I almost thought he was gonna cook Tsyzu at one point. But Tsyzu dug very deep, stuck to a game plan and managed to get the stoppage at the end, which is also very impressive because, like I said, I did think he was going to get cooked at one point. He looked very tight. He dug deep. Yeah, he even said in the post-fight interview that like this was tough to dig. Yeah.
So Koen Mazoudier, his record wasn't reflective of his ability.
Agreed. Yeah.
Koen was so tough during that fight, and the problem is as well that I want to just make a quick little highlight here is that often when you lose, some of these fighters and more domestic level fighters will fade away into obscurity, while Koen, I feel like, has some definitely upside, especially domestically.
100% agree.
Koen has showed a great chin. He showed the ability to go all the rounds.
Big heart. Yep.
Big heart. And not only is it just chin and I'm a tough Australian boxer, but thought he might cook Tszyu. Exactly what you're saying.
100%.
Tszyu was a bit rattled.
Yeah, pressure was relentless.
The pressure was relentless.
He was getting nice shots off too.
He was there.
Yep, the right hand was there. Yep.
The whole time.
Yep.
I think that this fight has done almost as much as a win against Tszyu.
Yeah.
That was a fight of the year candidate, and potentially it's done more for Cohen's career.
Yeah, I don't think he's lost any stock. Yeah, he's gained for sure. He's gained in a loss, which is impressive. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, he hasn't lost anything. Yeah, I'd like to see him fight again for sure.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. How old is Cohen?
Mid to late 20s.
Okay, right. Yeah, he's got plenty of potential for sure. Yep.
So a quick little side note as well on Koen Mazoudier is that I started doing some work as a boxing commentator with combatants, and during my first ever run through, like essentially, my interview with these guys live on Ricky Colosimo's, who we've had on the show before. On his show, Koen Mazoudier was actually my co-commentator.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
okay, cool.
So me and Koen, we chopped it up and we were talking about it, and he's just such a reasonable, logical guy. And I'm like, he's got a good boxing mind as well.
Oh, okay.
So when everyone's like, oh, Nikita Tsyzu, I'm like, no.
This
is more 50-50 than anyone may think.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, bro, he blew out to I think $9 at one point.
$9.25
with the bookies. Yeah.
What value?
Unbelievable. $9. Like I said, he was close. He I think Nikita was in enough control for the majority of the fight, but man, Koen was definitely cooking, and it was close. It definitely did not reflect $9 odds. That was ridiculous. If you would check the live odds, I reckon at some point, I reckon he would have probably come into $3 or $4 or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A limit show for sure.
They have to.
And he's going to be great. He fought Wade Wilson.
Yep.
Wade Ryan.
Did he fight
twice.
Wade? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
First one lost. Second one, he got the win.
W.
And he's obviously corrected the way he's training and stuff like that afterwards, and really dialed in for this one.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I feel like the big differentiating factor for that fight was the power differential.
Yes, good point. Yeah.
I feel like as relentless as Mazoudier was, the power differential, he couldn't throw what he wanted to throw in that fight. I think 100%, because the counters and the power differential from Nikita Tsyzu perhaps was just like, not that he was scared or anything, but he's like, listen, I've got to catch that.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise it's going to cause a drama.
Agree.
You know what I mean?
Totally agree. The pressure was good, like I said. But sometimes it maybe not have been the most intelligent pressure. I think he did take a lot of shots. Another thing as well, he was smothering Nikita a lot. And I feel like in that space, Nikita's going to probably have more upside just because he can generate more power. The mid-range as well, I felt like he was getting some good shots off. But again, Nikita's going to just counter, I think, a bit better in that spot as well. But again, overall, 40 did really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
When people jump up to the world level, and especially going for world titles, I feel like you need to have an X factor. And I've always been an advocate for this. So it's like, you can't be like, oh, he's just a good boxer. You need to have an X factor. And, you kind of can chop it up to 5 general things. You've got really, really good power.
Yep.
You have a really, really good chin. Yep. You're an amazing boxer. You are...
athletic, maybe.
Athletic, great gas tank. You need to have something that is just so much better in someone else. If you've got one or two of them, I mean, you start getting Floyd Mayweather-esque.
That's right, yeah.
Start getting one of these greats.
Yeah, if all those metrics that you just mentioned are all quite good, then you're going to be very good. But you might have some that lag a bit than others that you excel in far more than others. That'll carry you.
Yep. World level, they all have to be good, but you need to have one of those things that are exceptional.
Stand out, agreed.
For example... well, there's a few exceptions to that. We've got Deontay Wilder.
Well, I mean, the power is just
who's the worst boxer. But I think you've said it to me.
I wouldn't say it to his face.
No, God, no. No, I might. And if he cracks me, it'd be really good clicks. But what it is he's you said it to me, and it was so funny. He goes, for a really bad boxer, he's had such a good career.
No, for sure. Yeah, he's overachieved in that regard, in that respect.
That right hand.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you're saying. He just excelled in one aspect that carries weight, and that's the power. Oh man, some of his knockouts are savage. Yeah.
And coming back to Australian boxing, my qualm and my question would be to, like, say, Sam Goodman versus Inoue. So Sam Goodman isn't known to be like the biggest one-punch Deontay Wilder fight. He's a very, very good boxer, very intelligent boxer.
Yeah.
But against someone like Inoue, who in that division, he is that guy, that you have to keep someone honest with the power.
Yep.
He can sting you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, well, obviously Inoue can KO you.
Yeah.
But, Sam can sting you, but I think it needs to be consistent to be like, give something for Inoue to think about.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Because otherwise it's going to be like, I don't respect you and I'm going to knock you out.
Exactly.
Point in hand here, if that's even a saying, is Daniel Geale versus Triple G.
Yeah, good example, actually.
Thoughts on that? Like in that context.
Yep. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. Again, Gill was a great boxer, moved well, good combinations, had good boxing IQ as well. Ticked all them boxes, but then he come up against someone like G. And G, you even see before Gill got knocked out in that fight, he landed the best punch of the night. But G let him. G was like, I'm going to take it to just land this one shot, and it's probably going to be the knockout shot. And it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, again, like skill for skill, like if you break it down individually, Gill was
arguably the better boxer.
Yeah, if you break it down individual skill for skills, but then if, obviously G's ring IQ's phenomenal, jab, phenomenal, pressure and everything.
I love Gennady Golovkin so much.
Yeah. I feel like he didn't get enough respect, man. Even still, like now that he's retired and stuff, people talk about him a bit more. He was a beast. He was a beast, and he beat Canelo twice as well, or at least once anyway. But anyway, that's another story. Yeah,
we could go into it.
Yeah,
but not this time. Yeah, but to tie in, I 100% agree with that. He didn't keep him honest with the power.
That's right. Yeah, and he just couldn't. Yeah,
and then that's what happened, and that's my concern as well. That I'd like to see Sam Goodman. He can sting someone, like I said, but deliver that power to keep Inoue at bay, because I feel like he can be outboxed. I don't think Inoue is a great boxer.
Really?
I don't think Inoue is a great boxer.
Wow. Okay.
I feel like he relies too much on his power to bail him out in a lot of spots.
Yeah,
he's fine. Listen, like I said, those 5 metrics, he's great at all of them, but his power's like up here.
True.
And sometimes these people rely on their power too much. Yep. Like our next one that we want to discuss, Liam Paro, Subriel Matías.
Ooh. What a fight.
Someone like Matías relied on his power too much.
Yep.
Now, Michael, this was an absolute shocking fight to me. Love Liam Paro for it. Massive underdog. Give me your initial thoughts on the fight.
Initial thoughts. So
let's go around, the first half of the fight, second half of the fight. Talk to me.
Pretty much from the get-go, I realised that my initial opinion was way off.
Because you've got a bit of inside track here with some Liam Paro.
Yeah. Some words on the street that I might have an ear to. But I did hear that Liam's main trainer, I think it's Steve Rawlings from memory, that could be wrong, don't quote me, wasn't in the camp as well. So, and this is like a big fight, like huge fight for Liam, right? Fight of his life. Not having him was definitely a factor that I thought would play into the fight. But pretty much from the get-go, Liam looked good. He moved well. Matías is a slow starter, as we know, so didn't put too much weight into it in the earlier rounds. But as it went on, man, Liam's game plan was shining through, and he was working the jab well. He was moving well. He was doing a lot of good stuff where he'd get shots off, and then he'd just smother Matías. And Matías was sitting up in the high guard a lot, which is what he likes to do, and he does it well. But Pyro was just really good at just getting shots off, leaning on him, or pushing away and doing a complete reset. And Matías didn't really have any answer for it. It was almost like, I don't want to say it, but it was almost like he didn't have a game plan. It was like Matías just thought he could go in there and just crack him and take the fight. Whereas Liam looked like prepared, ready, locked in. And as it went on, it just pulled further and further away. I thought Matías had his moments, but overall, I think Liam just, he didn't make it look easy. He obviously dug deep and fought hard, but I think overall he looked a lot better than what people thought he was going to look, and Maybe it could be a thing where Matías isn't as good as what everyone thought. Maybe. I don't know.
People were dodging him.
Maybe Liam's just so much better than what everyone thought. But yeah, big surprise, huge upset, and loved it.
Now, tell me if you would mind elaborating a little bit on the pre-fight dramas, maybe, if you want to use that word. The pre-fight, like, what was your ear to the ground on? What were you hearing beforehand? Word on the street.
Yeah, word on the street. So normally Liam, my understanding is he does a lot of his camps in Vegas with Steve, and that didn't happen this time, which I thought was interesting.
I believe he went to Miami.
Yeah, that's right. He went down to Miami, and what I did hear was he wanted to go to Miami because the climate is very similar to Puerto Rico. So he wanted to condition himself for that, which makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
And the other question was that would he be able to get good work down there as well, which was up in the air. Apparently he did, because you've seen the way he fought. So, but yeah, there was all that circulating around it.
So he was in Australia for a bit longer than he should have been.
That is also what I did here. There was a bit of a delay there as well. But yeah, like at the end of the day, he got the win. And
Looks like it didn't show.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's that classic, Aussie battler mentality. Like, the chips are down, whatever it may be. But he managed to make it work, and yeah, he just got it done. And yeah, it was a great fight.
Listen, man, I did a little bit of a video on our channel, just my initial thoughts as well,
Yeah.
a couple of days after this fight. But I tell you what, exactly that pressure, he was never staying in front of Matías. He was snatching those early rounds. They know he's a slow starter.
Yes.
Subriel Matías was meant to be Eddie Hearn's big guy,
He's
I think,
the
coming up.
boogeyman,
The
yeah.
boogeyman. And then he's gone in to Puerto Rico.
That's right.
Everyone hates him. He probably
Yes.
has like the 10 tickets that the promoter gave to him for his family to come over.
And that's it.
And that's it.
It's 10 Aussies and 100,000 Puerto Ricans.
Yeah,
singing
and
that
you have a
same.
story about this,
Similar,
which we'll
actually.
talk about later, but I'm very, very interested to hear, and I think everyone should hear as well. Listen, the IBF or junior welterweight, this guy's been dodged. He comes in, delivering those punches, right? Getting out of the pocket, making him turn, because
Yeah, that's right. Kept turning him.
Matías,
That's
to
right,
generate the
yeah.
power, he has to really set his feet. He's one of those guys.
Very true. Yeah.
He's got that big power, and can really cause dramas for people.
Yep.
He wasn't letting that happen.
That's right. Yeah.
Paro did gas a little bit
Mhm.
during those middle late rounds. Like
Yep.
we're talking the 7, 8, around seven.
Yep.
And I was very concerned. I'm like, oh man, you're
Yeah.
fighting so well. You're snatching
Keep it
this.
together, man. Yeah,
Keep it
for
together,
sure.
please.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
hey, he dug deep.
He did,
and
man.
he snatched
really
it.
did. Yeah, yeah.
And I tell you what, as well, boxing can be a fickle mistress. And it can be like, yeah, cool, you won the
Cool.
fight, but you just get robbed.
Yeah, there's that too.
And he's
Yeah,
in
that's
Puerto
right.
Rico.
Yep, yep.
Politically speaking, everything should have been towards Matías.
Anything close, you'd think they'd give it to Matías. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got it right.
They did, yeah. And credit to the Puerto Rican judges, or Puerto Rico, yeah. But they got it right, and yeah, it was good to see.
And like Liam Paro probably didn't get his enough respect. I agree. Like he beat Montana Love, who was that vaunted prospect.
Yep, that's right.
coming through.
Yep.
But Montana Love's bane is Australian boxers by the looks of things, because he
Yeah.
lost against Spark.
That's right. Yeah,
Stevie
yeah, it's true.
Spark.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah,
Sucks, bro.
Yeah.
And Matías was a bit old as well. He's like 32, but that's not like old.
No,
He's
it's
like
not,
prime,
especially in this day and age of boxing. 32 is not what 32 was 30 years ago. You know what I mean? With the way things are now, nutrition's better. The sports science has come a long way. Yeah, there's no excuse. Like, yeah, I don't put any weight into that at all. I don't use that to take away any stock from the win for Liam. Yeah. You touched on a good point too, just from the fight, from a technical aspect. How he wouldn't let Matías set his feet, which is very, very true. And he was doing that. He was pushing him off his base a lot. And Matías would just come in and do it, and he'd get pushed back, and then he'd just step back in and just step straight back in front of Paro. Paro would get his shots off and move again. And he was just rinse and repeat. And it looked really good. And again, I was surprised that Matías kind of just sort of let it happen, almost.
Looks like he didn't want to come off. Look, maybe they didn't have a plan B.
Yeah, that's what I agree. It was almost like he didn't have a game plan beyond just
Walking through him.
Yeah, like sit up in the high guard, take shots, and throw back.
And that's what I mean with the Inoue idea,
Yep.
is that they're so dependent on their power, because he had a 100% stoppage ratio.
True.
Percentage,
Yep.
should I say.
Yep.
He stopped everyone.
Yep.
They get so reliant on it.
Yep.
It becomes their one trick. And then when they get away from it, you're done.
Yep.
Deontay Wilder started getting outboxed, couldn't land that right hand.
Mm-hmm.
You're done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That was the key.
And once he started to try and learn to box, it actually kind of just got a bit worse for him, to be honest. Yeah, no, like, you got to stick to what you're good at, man.
Yeah, exactly right. Like refine it. It's like stick to what you're good at. All right, let's keep this right hand. He's tough as hell.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, you got to credit his chin. He's got the heart of a lion as well.
Yeah,
Deontay Wilder.
And to me, for Deontay to get a lot better, I feel like if you threw a left hook,
if
he added left hook, keep everything how it is, but just start throwing that left hook.
Yeah.
And because they want to get on the inside, either with Deontay Wilder all the way out, all the way in, right uppercut.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Don't worry about your body shots. Don't worry about this.
Not every right hand has to be a home run. Like throw a few throwaway right hands, but then tack the left hook behind it a bit. Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, and if I'm going to liken it to something, it was Manny Pacquiao early in his career. 1-2, 1-2, and he was sleeping people with it. But then he fought Morales for the first time. Morales is like a great boxer.
Yeah,
Eric Morales, and he's
generational
like,
great.
He's like, no. He goes, I know this.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
But it's amazing, and anyone listening, I would definitely encourage you to go and watch all those fights. Yeah. But you can see Pacquiao's progressing after that.
Yeah.
In the second fight, he then got the left hook. That Manny Pacquiao left hook that he's very famous for, that you've seen, probably in the biggest part of his career.
That's it. Yep.
And that's when he started pulling apart Morales.
Punching on crazy angles and stuff. Yeah, angles that didn't even exist before he come along.
But all it started with was the left hook.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was the beginning of it. Yeah, for sure.
Listen, I'm going to send an email to Deontay Wilder saying, listen, man, we're going to train you.
Yeah, I was just thinking
I'm your coach.
Yeah, if you're listening, Deontay. Oh, boy.
If I get a message, we're going to tag him in it. If we get a message back, saying,
don't tell him where I live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I didn't mean anything I said.
Yeah, we don't live in Sydney.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's your last thoughts on Paro? Oh, sorry, they're lining it up.
Devin Haney.
Devin Haney.
Yeah.
To me, not a good matchup.
Agree. Yeah, I mean, just off the top of my head, on the surface,
Devin Haney's going to come back with his reign of terror in Australia.
Yeah, that's right.
Go away.
Pick up where he left off. Yeah. I do think it's a better fight, like more competitive, I think. But stylistically, I think. Oh, you know what? I was thinking about this earlier today. It depends which Haney turns up, because he just come off a pretty brutal loss, man. Like, irrespective of like Garcia being cheating and
very good point,
and all the rest of it, he still was in the ring with a guy that smoked him pretty hard, and like he took a lot of damage. He got rattled a lot, and he also showed some weaknesses as well.
Left hooks.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Paro's got some crack, man. Like he can pop you.
With that said as well, Montana Love had that same style as Devin Haney, and he was very successful.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
More three-dimensional than George Kambosos as well, I think.
Paro? Oh, yeah, definitely has more to offer. I think mostly just he's got a bit more pop as well. I think, again, it just depends which Haney turns up. If it's the same Haney as before the Garcia fight, I think Haney probably gets the win and makes it look relatively easy. Maybe I'm wrong, but if he's a bit rattled from that, like, it's hard to know, right? Like I said, it was a pretty devastating loss.
When Paro was in Las Vegas, they were doing a bit of sparring.
There was some sparring. Yeah, they did. And
got the inside track here, don't you, Michael?
My understanding is that the rounds were very competitive, but I think Haney was getting the better. But I also heard that Paro definitely put in a good showing, and it wasn't like he was outclassed or anything. Like he deserves to be there. Yeah. It's interesting. Also, I think Paro's gotten better since then too, because this is a while back now. This was before Haney fought Lomachenko, I think.
Full of confidence as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's coming to himself more, I think. I'm sure he's done a lot of great work since that as well. So, yeah, it is a good fight, and shout out to Eddie Hearn, like, for making the fight, because like it's pretty savage to throw Haney in there with Paro coming off of that loss. I think like it's like you think maybe they chuck Haney on a little bit softer, but like to give him Paro is like I think pretty, and it'll be at 140 as well. So I think it's a good matchup. Surprised and interested to see it for sure.
I want to know your thoughts on this. If George Kambosos goes up to 140 for a big domestic showdown with Paro. Thoughts?
I have thought about that. What do I think about it? I think Paro at this stage. Credit to George, man. He just takes big fights. He's done a lot for Australian boxing. But I think if he gets in the ring with Paro, he might get stopped. Again, southpaws, they're always tough. Like, they're always tricky. And if you go anything, if you like it at anything to his recent fight with Lomachenko, he definitely struggled. Obviously, Lomachenko is one of one. He's in his own league. But that could give some insight to how the fight could play out. I think Paro's got more power, or definitely has more power than Lomachenko. Yeah, I think it's a good fight in terms of a domestic big fight. Financially makes a lot of sense for Paro. But yeah, I could see Paro maybe even stopping GK. Yeah, yeah, potentially.
Now, we alluded to it earlier, but you have a George Kambosos story.
I do actually. Yeah.
All right, talk to us. Talk to us.
So this is a while back now, but before George was, I guess, known as much as he is now in Australian boxing and on the international stage, he had a fight scheduled with Lopez. Bit of a background story, but Lopez had just come off a win against Lomachenko, so he was riding that high.
I feel like this was our finest boxing analysis that we've ever had for this one.
We went back and forth.
Continue. I won't interrupt.
Yeah.
We were crunching numbers.
Yeah, I'm talking crunching numbers. We were like hyper analyzing every aspect to the point like what was George having for breakfast and how we thought that could impact the fight. It was like that.
Psychology of it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I just think for that fight leading up to it, George was hungry. You know, he was still coming up and he was all in on this. And there was a few setbacks on the way. Lopez got injured. Lopez got COVID. A few other things. There was a toss-up between who was promoting the fight. And this all played out over...
Triller.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fuck those guys. This all played out over like months and months, right? The fight, I think, got postponed maybe, I'm going to say 4 or 5 times or something. It was something ridiculous. Anyway, eventually they had a date and me and my friend were like, we got to go to the fight because we were in the States at the time. So we flew from LA to New York to watch the fight. And I remember the whole time we were just thinking, man, George was paying like 10 to 1. And I think he might have blown out something ridiculous, like 15 to 1 or something. Something crazy. I had money on it. I just kept whacking it. The more he moved out, I just kept putting money on. I'm like, am I fucking crazy? Am I losing my mind here? I remember telling you, and you were like, yeah, but you were with it too. Like, yeah, George too.
You drew confidence from your preparation.
That's right. Yeah.
Those numbers that we were crunching.
That's
like,
exactly
this is
right.
Value.
Yeah, 100%. Just the motivational angle. I feel like you had a guy in George Kambosos who was super hungry, was underrated, and not as bad as what people were saying. People were writing him off completely. He does do a lot of good things. And then you got someone like Lopez who's coming off the Lomachenko win, and obviously great boxer, but it's kind of like the classic, like, you know, how can you motivationally get up for this fight after coming off the Lomachenko fight? Then you've got a guy who's coming in 110% all in versus a guy who's probably not going to be at 100% because he's like, well, like, who's this Kambosos guy? Like, he couldn't even say his last name. You know what I mean? Like,
Kambosos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, we got to the fight and it was wild, out of control. Like, just picture like 20,000, because he's Honduran background as well. Like 20,000 like native, like Brooklyn, because he lives in Brooklyn. Brooklyn Honduran fans versus like 2 Australian guys. I mean, if you include the camp, there was like 6 Australians maybe or something. Like it was like that. Like we thought we were gonna die. Yeah. Because
I know you're talking shit, were you?
We were talking a lot of shit. Yeah, and it got to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna die anyway, so I might as well just go down swinging. So yeah. Yeah, it was full on. It was very hostile. We were trying to plan our escape, but like,
tell them what you're saying to people.
Oh yeah, I can't probably say that on the air.
Yes,
but,
you can. You can say this.
There was a lot. There was a lot of sledging back and forth. It was pretty funny because that first round, like Lopez looked like he was gonna just kill him, and I couldn't even watch. I remember I was looking. I'll be honest. I was kind of looking away because I'm like, oh no, George, not like
my
this.
boy.
Not like, yeah, my boy George, don't do it. You know what I mean? And then like out of nowhere, I just hear, oh, and I'm like looking, like corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, what? And I just see Lopez on his back, and George is just standing over him. I'm like, oh my god! And just from that moment, the whole fight changed. Ended up being like, I think it was almost like fight of the year. It was a fight of the year candidate, maybe.
Yeah,
It might
red
have been.
hot.
Yeah. So it was just really cool to be there, just as an Australian, to see that. You know what I mean? It was literally like, I'm not joking.
A
Like
handful of years.
it was 2 Australians in that crowd, maybe. And just 20,000 like Brooklyn natives. They were all love Lopez, just throwing stuff at us, yelling at us. We're throwing stuff back at him. It was
Aussie.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I lost my voice. We met George the next day, actually. Shout out to his promoter. He was real cool. He let us come meet George and stuff, and we sat down and spoke to him, and he was real cool. And like, I tried to talk to him. I was like, "Hey, George, how you going?" He's like, "Oh, you're right." I'm like, "Oh, you know, like I've been."
Sorry, I'm just supporting you too much.
Yeah. He was like, "Yeah." Yeah, it was real cool. Like, great experience. Yeah, like a historical thing, really, for Australian boxing. Yeah, so it was cool to be a part of it. Yeah.
I think you can pinpoint the resurgence of Australian boxing with that win.
Yeah, like,
Almost.
Yeah, I mean,
Arguably.
yeah, well, like it kind of put it back on the map, so to speak. And he's done a lot for Australian boxing. Like, I like a lot of people like give him a bit of a hard time now and stuff, you know. But he's lost his last few fights, but he only takes big fights. You know what I mean? He's brought like a lot to Australian boxing. Yeah, so.
You know what? I've said a few times on this podcast that what George Kambosos has done, bringing these big fights to Australia, in 15, 20 years, it's going to generate a world champion, an Australian world champion.
Agreed.
Eyes on the sport, eyes
100%.
attention. Hey,
Yeah.
Australian has become a world champion. He's
Very-
fighting the best of the best.
Very true.
It's
Yeah.
going to generate a world champion in 15, 20
there
years.
you go. Yeah.
And in 15, 20 years with that world champion, I do want them on this podcast.
100%.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't forget it. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty mad, man. And just being like one of the only ones there and supporting, you know, the Aussie
Yep.
and just for them putting it on you. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was just cool. Like I said, he was a huge dog, 15-1 at one point. Like Lopez was meant to just kill him, like literally. And yeah, George wasn't having any of it that night. He just got it together and it was a great fight.
Amazing.
Like, yeah, the back and forth was really good. It was just a war, man.
And then he got dropped and now
Yeah, that's right. He got dropped, but he
made
got
me
up.
nervous.
Yeah. Made you nervous, mate. Oh man, I was nervous for my life and for George. Like,
Come on, George, get up.
yeah.
And your money.
Yeah, and everything else. Yeah.
More importantly,
Yeah.
the money was at stake.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. I need this.
Yeah, I can't get back to LA
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
from New York if I'm
If George doesn't get it done.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, such a cool experience. Yeah, once in a lifetime thing, I think. So.
100%.
It was
And
good
just
to be
timed
a
up
part
very
of it.
nicely.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? On the same track as the Australian boxers, while we're on this topic, Jai Opetaia, big dog in the cruiserweight division right now.
Yeah.
Now, this guy has insane upside, and he's loved by Saudi Prince. So he's happy at the moment, you know.
Yep.
And his promotion guys and his managers, Tasman Fighters, with Mick Francis there. They're taking care of him. What a great stable that these guys have at the moment.
Yep.
What Hooney, Connor Wallace, who just fought on the last No Limit show.
He's part of that stable too.
Yep,
Oh,
I believe
cool.
so.
Yep.
And then Justin Hooney, him, and Jai Opetaia.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, this
yeah.
guy
A lot of potential
is a great. Oh man, I tell you what. When George lost his belts, then we're like, oh, we don't really have any belts anymore. You know. Then they've got Paro snatched one, and then Jai Opetaia.
Yep.
As well, like for the males, that is.
Yep.
And he's like, you know, he was on such a run at the time as well, and he wants to go to heavyweight, which we're just gonna break down a little
It's
bit.
interesting. Yep.
But what's your thoughts on Jai, like on a macro scale or on that world scale? Because I don't want to talk about Jai at the domestic level because he's well and truly above that.
Totally agree.
We have to talk him globally.
Yeah, globally. Yeah, totally agree. Love him. Think he's a great boxer. Love his style. Bouncing in and out, really good timing, good feint game. Yeah, just looks really good. Agree with you. Huge upside. A lot of potential. I think his next fight is with
Jack Macy.
Jack Macy. Yep, that's an interesting fight, which ties into the discussion about him potentially going up to heavyweight. Jack Macy fought Joseph Parker.
2023.
Yeah, recent enough, and that was a heavyweight fight as well, which he lost a unanimous decision. And Joseph Parker's no schmuck. Like, he's in the top tier for heavyweights. You know what I mean? So like, it'll be interesting to see how Jai goes against Jack in his next fight. I think it'll give us a bit of an insight into how he may track moving to heavyweight.
Very true.
Yeah, so I am very intrigued for that fight. I do think Jai's going to get the win. And initially, I thought it didn't make as much sense for him to go to heavyweight, just in terms of, I guess, size. I think is the biggest issue. Height as well. In terms of skill, he's got it for sure. But now my opinion's changed, and I actually think it's a good move. I think if they do it right, like people like Usyk and Evander Holyfield have paved the way for fighters who have done it. There's a bit of a blueprint there, but I do think that it's a good move. I just think financially, it's where the big money fights are and all the glory. And if I'm right, and if it is only just a weight thing, then I think he can do it because skill for skill, he's definitely got it. And I think he could definitely do some damage up there, for sure.
Definitely. Listen, my thoughts. I've actually thought about this quite a bit because I'm a big Jai guy.
Yeah,
but like. I want to keep people honest, and I'm going to give my opinions,
for sure.
as it is. I'm a big heavyweight. I used to fight at heavyweight, as you know.
Yeah.
You can really probably tell at the moment.
Yeah.
I've got some holiday
Boy.
kilos.
Yeah.
Besides the point, that Jai is about 191 centimeters, all right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull out some maths here.
Yep.
Okay, so right now we're looking at heavyweights kind of around the... I don't have the exact one. I had like a sheet here, which I was tracking, but they're around 200 centimeters.
Plus,
the average height was 196 centimeters for heavyweights.
Okay.
Once you take the top 15 and you average it out, it's 196 centimeters.
Right.
All right. Weight wise, in excess of 260 pounds.
big boys.
So he's at light heavyweight. All right. Sorry, cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight, yeah.
And he's not particularly. He doesn't have a particularly big frame for that.
True.
So there's my concerns, which I'd love for him to be like, Guy, you're wrong. I would love that.
Yeah, like you'd love us.
I'd love to be wrong more than anyone else.
Love him to prove us wrong.
Exactly.
Totally agree. Yeah.
That if he maintained that hand speed, he would beat Joe Joyce. At heavyweight, he would beat Joe Joyce.
Yep.
Joe Joyce is very slow.
Could see that.
Chisora and a few of these other ones coming up who aren't quite as big would do it. He could beat with the skill set.
Yep.
Okay, but
Totally
now
agree.
it becomes a power thing and a size thing when the
Yeah.
top guys, AJ, Deontay Wilder, even
Zhang.
Big Bang Zhang,
Yeah.
or
boy.
even what's his name, Tyson Fury. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like they put their weight on people, and that is what
100%.
becomes an issue. In my opinion,
Yep.
heavyweight boxing is almost a separate sport from the rest of boxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Same
you can't take
prestigious
that
thing.
one shot.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't be like, I'll take a few. Oh, that was a good one, but it didn't kill me.
Yeah.
They generate so much power.
That's right. Yeah.
Any one of them because they're so big, right? My concern is a height thing and a size thing. We'll take a few examples, historically speaking. 3. We got Evander Holyfield. Okay, he's jumped up in a different time. He fought Mike Tyson, who was a heavyweight world champion.
Yep.
They were the same size.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He was, in fact, maybe a little bit taller.
He might. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
a bit bigger. Yeah.
And then when he fought, someone like Lennox Lewis, who's more of an archetype of the current heavyweight sphere.
Correct. Yeah, like a super heavyweight.
Yeah.
If you could call it that. Yeah.
Big dramas.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
had issues. All right, the next guy, you'd have David Haye.
Yep.
193 centimeters. Okay, he's jumped up from cruiserweight, undisputed cruiserweight champion.
Yep.
He's jumped up to heavyweight.
Yep.
Big dramas against Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vladimir Klitschko, sorry.
Vladimir mismatch. Yeah.
Mismatch.
Yeah.
Couldn't get in.
Yeah.
And he's probably almost similar to Jai in some sense that he's very quick and very explosive.
Yeah,
Actually,
true,
they're
true.
not. They don't really fight the same.
Yeah, different body compositions. Like, yeah.
I think similar body composition, both very athletic,
Yeah.
but style very different.
Style very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that big
Jai's a bit
chest,
taller,
didn't he?
no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, a bit shorter.
Oh, really?
Like,
Oh.
listen, when you look these things up, it says 191 centimeters, but it could be 193.
Yeah,
like Jai,
yeah.
please comment below and tell me your exact height
Yeah.
as of now without shoes and no socks. But that's just what I've found. So let's call them similar height.
Yep.
All right. And Hay had really, really devastating power.
He did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jai does have devastating power at cruiserweight right now.
Yep.
I really want to see how that translates.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Because Hay had it at both.
True.
Yep.
It is important too for the heavyweights. Like, that's something that has to carry.
Yep.
He can't go up there and he might look the part, but if he can't crack, or at least enough to have the respect, then he's going to have problems.
You have the X factor, and often what heavyweights have are the power
Yeah.
to knock you out in one punch.
100%.
My third example, or my final example, should I say, is that Alexander Usyk, 193 centimeters. He fought Breedis.
Yep.
Okay. He had, and this we can really have a look at. Okay, like this is actually, we have a common opponent.
Yep.
And then doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Usyk was a bit taller. Okay,
Yep.
but this guy's a one-of-one boxer.
Yeah.
Usyk is 1-of-1.
That's right.
As good as our boy Jai Opetaia is,
Yep.
he's not Alexander Usyk.
No, that's right. Yeah. And that's no knock to him. It's like Usyk's incredible.
Yeah.
He's,
And that's just because he's
it's
incredible.
That's right.
And he's obviously even had a little bit of a hard time going up into heavyweight.
Yep.
Versing his Chisores and a lot of pressure like this.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, he did have he did struggle a bit along the way. It wasn't a smooth road all the way up to heavyweight and everything. So yeah, that's true. Yep.
Undisputed cruiserweight.
Yep.
They both fought Breedis.
Yep.
And then even Usyk had trouble with Breedis.
Yeah.
So if anyone jumps out there and puts shit on Jai Opetaia for like, oh, how come he didn't smoke Breedis? Yeah, he was a little bit old or whatever. Breedis is an old veteran, tough,
Very
power.
Good. Yeah, very good.
He is
Crafty
very
as
good.
well. Yeah, good ring IQ. Yeah, Breedis is good. Definitely. Totally agree.
So when it comes down to it, we have to see, and I would love to be wrong, but I would be initially skeptical about Jai jumping up to heavyweight.
Yep.
If I was his management, which I'm not, just to clarify, if anyone was wondering, that I'd love to see him maybe solidify cruiserweight to get that big name.
Yep.
Right, like a lot of people do.
Yep.
I would like maybe even one at Bridgerweight.
Yep.
That new WBC weight division in between
Yeah.
cruiser and heavyweight.
Yep.
All right, and then jump
and
up
then
into
move
those.
up. Yep.
Because once you're undisputed cruiserweight, you pretty much get mandatories for people almost.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if that was their plan. If they are thinking about going all the way to heavyweight, if they're going to go in that exact way that you suggested, build it out slowly. You know what I mean? Yeah, I could see him going about it that way. I feel like, again, like you touched on the size and stuff. I think if done properly, he can do it. But I think the power thing it's hard to say if the power will carry. Yeah, skill for skill, he's definitely got it though, like for sure. Like I'd say skill for skill, he's better than most heavyweights. I think, yeah, like
Because they probably rely too much on their power.
yeah, that's exactly right.
And Usyk, again, anti-meta in the sense that he comes in with just basically boxing skills.
Yeah,
And obviously
just
enough power to keep you honest.
Exactly right. Yeah, he's not known to have insane power at the heavyweight level, but enough to keep you honest. I mean, he cracked Fury. I mean, look, I'll be honest, like just my take, but I think Fury might be a little bit shot, a little bit. I think like he's been in a lot of wars, man, with Wilder. He's taken some of the heaviest punches in the history of boxing. Full stop. I think he might be a little shot.
That
Yeah.
upsets me.
Me too.
Because like
No, you're right. He looked good against Usyk. It was a very competitive fight, like super competitive, very close. But he did seem a little rattled when he copped some big shots, a bit more than like I think what would have been the case prior to the wars he had with Wilder. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And for the viewers' information is that we're both quite big Tyson Fury fans as well. He bought me a Tyson Fury jumper, which I probably should have worn instead of this brown thing.
No, old Brown's all right. Yeah,
Smelly brown.
it's got character. Yeah,
It's got character.
That's
But
about
yeah,
it.
but we try not to be biased. We try and give honest opinions and give like someone actually an honest take.
Mhm.
That's what we're trying to do here, I think, and I
Sure.
appreciate it. Yeah, so Jai and Jack Macy is going to be a very telling fight.
Yeah,
And I think you're right. And nice observation to grab at that he did fight
Parker.
Joseph Parker
Yep.
before. You know what? Actually, Jai Opetaia versus Parker would be an amazing fight at heavyweight.
Yeah. And it could be something we see in the near future potentially.
Common fighter, people, like,
Yep.
I don't know, talk to me.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. I could see it, definitely. Yep.
All right. So we've talked about Nikita Tsyzu.
Yep.
What about Tim Tszyu?
Yeah. Loved him.
Yeah, I got some stats here.
Yep.
All right. So Tim Tszyu, obviously the man in Australian boxing right now. Okay. But I was taking some notes here. So Tim Tszyu, he's going to be fighting this guy. Now, I had to write this down because I'm going to butcher it. All right. Let's see how many times it takes me to get. So Tim Tszyu will fight. Funny enough, I saw George Rose pronouncing this, and I could tell he practiced that about 50 times in the back of it because he didn't say it with like that confidence he usually talks with.
Yeah, okay.
And it's going to be the same here. He will be fighting, and it's in the works, in which I think it's pretty much about to be set up. Bakram Murtazali. Oh my goodness gracious me! All right, Bakram Murtazaliev. Bakram Murtazaliev for the IBF Super Welter. Now, Jamel Charlo is in recess at the moment, so that's why it's the IBF, like, pretty much title fight.
Okay, yep.
Yep, Jamel Charlo, just retire, bro. Like, let Tim have it.
Yeah.
So he's going to be snatching it up. And I know you like your numbers, Michael. All right, now, it hasn't, like, properly been announced, I think.
Oh, it's not official yet.
But Bakram, which I'm going to be calling him from now on, is paying $4.20.
Okay.
And Tim Tszyu is $1.27.
I mean, sounds about right to me.
I think so.
Yeah, it sounds about right to me.
He's like a pressure fight. I think he's the softest super welterweight guy out there, a champion at the moment.
Okay.
He's a pressure fighter.
Yep.
And a bit of a power puncher.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for Tim. He will snipe him to bits.
100% agree.
And just destroy him. I think he's going to snatch it up again.
Yep. I think it's a great fight coming off of that unfortunate loss against Fondora.
So disappointed.
Yeah, about that. But I think I can see Tim probably getting a pretty easy W. I just think Tim's just boxing IQ's there. Counter punches are good. Punch selection's too good. He just works people out. He's not. I mean, at this level, everyone's quick, but he's not necessarily known for speed. Not that he's slow, but it's his timing. It's just
nailed it.
Yeah. Timing's great. And you see that against Fondora, if you go back and watch that fight. If he had taken that cut, like, in my opinion, I think he probably would have got the stoppage within 6.
Mm-hmm.
He was already landing that right hand real nice in like rounds 1 and 2. And he rattled Fondora, I think, in the second. You could see he was already getting his timing down. And he was cruising to a win, I think. Yeah, so...
100%. And listen, Tim Tszyu won't say it. George Rose won't say it. They'll give the credit to Fondora. However, I will. All right, listen, that cut on the head was horrendous.
Yeah.
Right, it wasn't dirty. It wasn't. It was by accident. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Tim leaned into it. His elbow was there. Big tearing inferno, whatever they call him. You know, he's 6'7". That is close to Anthony Joshua height.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Tim took this fight. I've always said that people taking 2 weeks' notice for a fight is a nightmare. Never do it. Never do it. Sack it. It cause upsets.
100%.
Historically speaking, just don't do it.
Let alone against
a 6'7" behemoth.
Southpaw.
Like, exactly.
No, thank you.
He leans into it. That cut would not stop.
Yeah, it couldn't stop it. Yeah. It was a gash, man, on his skull. Like,
I come from a medical background.
Yeah.
Okay. The amount of blood that guy's losing,
there's that too.
It's going to take some energy away from you.
100%.
The ability to carry oxygen throughout your body, losing so much blood. Number 2, it blinded him.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It blinded him, and it was completely. It changed the fight. It wasn't one of those ones that like, oh yeah, that's a cut. No, it changed the fight.
It wasn't a standard generic cut that you might cop in a fight that you might almost expect half the time. This was like a freak accident type thing.
Exactly. And I give to what's his name, Fondora, that his nose was busted.
Oh yeah, I think he broke his nose. Yeah.
What do you mean he evaporated his nose?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Wonky.
Yeah.
Like, bro, your nose is wonky.
Yeah, gone. Yeah. No nose. But yeah, I mean, still credit to Fondora though. I thought he did still look good in there, and he did capitalize. Yeah, and he I don't know what it is, man. Fondora, like you said, the guy's like 7 foot. He's like a giant, but he fights like he's Mike Tyson sometimes. Like, it's almost like
so dumb.
I you know what I mean. But in that fight, he did move a lot better. He was working the jab a lot more.
With that said,
he used his range.
I'm going to pull you up on that. Actually, on that point, not pull you up. But
you can pull me up.
Yeah, actually, I'm pulling you up. Actually, yeah. Hey,
keep
bro.
it real.
Hey, bro. You come on here and saying crazy shit. Nah. But what it was, you notice when he started firing his jab?
After Tszyu had a volcano of blood coming out of his head.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a fair point.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, true. And he was like aiming at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Aggravating it.
Yeah. And they do that.
Yeah.
I remember, what's it called? Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko, right?
Yeah.
Vitaly was winning the fight. Man, he got the cut on the eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in the clinches, you've got Lennox Lewis.
Rubbing it. Yeah.
with the laces, like
Yeah.
pushing on his head,
That's
rubbing
right.
it, getting rid
Yeah.
of everything. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
every trick in the book.
every
That's
trick in the book.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you dirty dog.
Damn, that was a good fight though.
Oh
yeah.
my god. He came out to Hotel California, which I thought was
Yep.
very cool.
Yep.
Hey, when I was actually overseas, I actually went to the O2 Arena and saw Chisora and Joyce.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Yeah, and that was super cool. The atmosphere, like lots of people there. Derek was very, very popular in London.
Yep.
And the atmosphere was great. And I had some pretty crappy seats because I bought them last minute, right?
Right.
And then I was, messaging you. And I'm like, oh, man. And I left because there's so many people leaving. I just wanted to leave ASAP before the announcement. And I thought Joyce won. But I wasn't watching on TV. I was watching it from like 450 meters away.
Yeah.
And just kind of what I was seeing.
Man,
and I
yeah.
wasn't drinking or anything. I was just like observing. I'm like, oh, no, he's won that. But
Bro, he was
and then
blocking right hands with his face.
I was messaging you afterwards. I'm like, oh, yeah, Joyce won that. Good on him. Then he's like, you're like, bro.
Oh, man.
I go, he ate about 1,000 overhand rights.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, he got a few. Got a few, but I
No,
think
he was
won.
rolling him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Nah.
And he's like, nah, man, I went and butched it back. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Can you, do you block?
Yeah.
You block,
like,
bro?
what's going on? Yeah. Unreal. I mean,
Insane.
tough. Like, he was eating them, but... Oh,
He is tough, yeah.
yeah.
And then he got dropped.
Yeah.
And Derek Chisora won it because, and here's a funny thing, because I was so convinced he won it on the way out, right?
Yep.
In the streets, there was this guy with like a camera doing like some footage for like fights and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, can I have your opinion? And I'm like, listen, man, Derek Chisora is a big, good champion, well, not champion, like a great fighter, very exciting, but it's time to hang him up, Joyce got the win. The guy was like looking at me funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have I done something wrong?
Yeah.
And then soon after, I'm like, on the way home on the tube,
Yep.
I Googled it. And I'm like, Derek Chisora won.
Yeah. Oh, what have I done?
I'm like, what an idiot. Okay, I'm never going to call a fight ever again in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway. Well, that's that anyway. That's a quick little story. Now, talk to me. The final thing on Tsyzu.
Yes.
He's going to be fighting this Russian guy. I think he's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Charlo, maybe. Fight might be happening soon after. Not too interested.
Yeah. I mean, there's Crawford in there now too. So there's
I'm to smash Fandora.
Fondora Crawford.
I want Fandora Zoo too.
Yeah. Well, that would be good. Definitely be keen for that. But I did hear something about correct if I'm wrong, they might have mandated Fondora and Crawford for unification.
Or was it Spence?
No, Crawford now.
Crawford?
Yeah, that's what I did recently see. They've got 30 days to negotiate and come up with something. That's what I read. So that could happen. That's interesting as well. Fondora's a nightmare for anyone. Like, he's just,
6'7".
Yeah, unbelievable.
6'7".
Like, how does this guy make weight? Yeah, it's crazy.
that thin though. His legs.
Yeah.
He's all right. He's not a Gronk either.
No, he seems like a cool
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
Hey, are there any comments on someone just in general? Because I know you've got a few favorites. I know you have opinions. Is there anyone that anything you want to bring up specifically?
What's out there right now? I mean, David Benavidez, my boy.
I've got opinions about that.
Yeah.
If you want to bring it up.
Yeah, okay, let's hear it. What do you...
Yeah, so he jumped up to, what was it? Light heavy?
175.
175.
Yep.
He jumped up 175 and he fought
The Ukrainian,
Golovzdek.
the veteran Ukrainian guy.
Golozdik.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Ukrainian. Yeah.
Yep, he is.
Yep.
He's from the same cloth and the same camp as Usyk and Lomachenko.
Fights out of Southern California, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Yep,
I
yep.
would evade Ukraine also at the current time.
Yep.
Current juncture in time. Anyway, he retired for a bit as well. He looked horrible. Benavidez looked horrible jumping up.
Horrible.
I think his power did not carry. He should have got him out there.
Interesting you say power, because I never thought Benavidez was that big.
Yeah, he's an accumulation guy.
Yeah, see, people are like, oh, the Mexican monster, this, that. I'm like, yeah, for sure.
He wasn't accumulating anything.
He's all of that, but, well, yeah, okay. But I don't think he's ever really had, like, power, like one-punch knockout power or anything. Like you said, it's an accumulation thing that he does. He just relentless pressure and picks his shots so well. Like, his punch selection is great. Combinations are devastating. That 25 punch combo he landed on Porky Madonna.
Yeah, but these are lower weight divisions.
Agreed. And yeah, you're right. what power he does have didn't translate to the 175.
You have to give someone a couple of fights.
Yeah.
But it's not like someone going from cruiser to heavy
You know-
where there's like 30 pounds.
A lot of people actually picked the Ukrainian to win that fight, by the way. Yeah, Teddy Atlas was quite vocal about it, saying, hey...
Love his takes.
Yeah, for sure. Saying, hey, I think he might get the upset. They've sort of bitten more than they can chew taking this fight, which is credit to Benavidez for sort of jumping in against someone who's still relevant and good. You know what I mean? Like he's a veteran, but like he can still fight. You know what I mean? So... Yeah, look, I don't take much away from it. I still think it was a good win. I think it might have been a bit of a wake-up call, though, like to what you're saying. He's kind of like, okay, can't bully people as much here. But he boxed well, you know, and he won the fight. So
Yeah, like definitely. Listen, at this stage, I think Canelo still gets him right now at this weight division.
yeah, well, if Canelo manned up and actually got in the ring, but
Yeah, I mean, the
Nah,
dude's
look,
cruising. No, you're right. The dude's cruising at the moment.
yeah, he's at that point in his career where it seems like he's like, I can do what I want, how I want, when I want, and I'm going to get paid bank, and I don't give a shit because I've done my time. And like, I can see why he has that outlook now. Like he has earned his stripes in that respect. You know what I mean? It's kind of like at the back end of Mayweather's career. Mayweather just kind of cruised a bit. You know, made his money. You know what I mean? It's a similar kind of approach, not the exact same, but it's a similar approach. I think coming towards the end of his career. But I do think he did duck Benavidez. I think he knows it's a very dangerous fight. He knows it's very dangerous, but he also knows
Doesn't
hey,
need the money.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, hey,
Doesn't need the brain damage.
that's exactly right. Like he knows it's a very dangerous fight, and it's like, well, look, I'll get in the ring with him, but you got to pay me. You know, that's just what it is, and fair enough. So
The big beef with Turkey and
all
Canelo,
that. Yeah,
and Turkey and Tank.
yeah.
Turkey and
Tim apparently as well. There was something there. I
What?
heard.
Not Tim.
Nah, yeah, not Tim. Yeah.
Man, I don't know why they don't like Tim and Nikita just like start and those guys start sucking up a little bit. Nah, they've got the whole PBC, don't they?
My understanding was that they have a bit of a roadmap for those boys, and it didn't quite align with what Turkey wanted here and now. So they're like, look, we can revisit Turkey and the options. Like, it's not off the table, but right now it doesn't quite align with our projection for these fighters. I think that was the general take on it.
It makes a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because cool, jump on the money, but these guys are long-term investments in the sense that
exactly.
you're going to get long-term gain from them, business perspective wise.
Yep.
The big names.
Yep.
You know, let's make sure that their skills are appropriate and to maintain them at the world class level.
And I think it's good too that they stick to like their plan as well. Like I like that. It's like, no, well, you know, there's some big money fights here, sure, but you know, we've got a plan and we back what we believe and we're going to stick to it. So fair enough. So.
But it's good that, you know, Turkey and Jai, they're like,
they're boys.
They go, man, listen, we'll stick to your plan, but I like you.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine being like just a guy from Sydney, just a guy,
just a dude. Yeah.
and then just being like having a
big Turk, loving you,
having a Saudi prince, oil baron, just love you.
Yeah.
Oh,
crazy.
bro, you'd have the best time.
Yeah.
Hey, I was talking to Ted Coffey, who is a bit of a guy and used to be a professional boxer, and I'm sure those listening know who he is.
Yep. For sure.
Anyways, he was working with Tasman Fighters on the No Limit undercard, and he said he was doing some work over there for the fight with in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
And he said he got taken care of so well.
Yeah.
Like no expense spared.
I've heard this.
You rock up. You take you know, they get the car,
everything.
you know, everything, the best of the best, like
roll
accommodation,
out the red carpet.
rolling out the red carpet, even for like the media guys.
Yeah.
And that's the dream. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Can I do that too?
Turkey, if you're listening.
Yeah, Turkey. Hey man, I'll do anything. Anything.
Oh boy. He ain't joking, but
yeah. Anyway, but he was saying it was just amazing and had such a good time, and like it's just like the ultimate sort of like, you know, venue, work experience in general, you know what I mean? Like not work experience as in like the experience of it itself.
Yeah, it's like the creme de la creme right now of like what boxing can offer for a fighter or anyone associated with with that space. I think, yeah,
Exactly.
what they're doing over there right now in Saudi Arabia is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great for the sport. Yeah,
It's great for the sport. However, I don't want a monopoly. I don't want him snatching them all and making like a UFC thing.
yeah.
I think that's a detriment to the sport to a degree.
yeah.
But his money has the ability to make these fights happen quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. If he hadn't come along, some of the fights we've been blessed with in the last 2 to 3 years I don't think would have eventuated.
Some of the best cards, like last
yeah,
Christmas with the AJ and
yep.
everyone fighting. Like, this is one of the best cards I've ever seen.
That's right. Yep. So, no, it's great for boxing.
This is almost like a Koen Mazoudier, Nikita Tsyzu style card.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Anyway, Michael, any final thoughts?
What else could we say? I mean, I think
I've got one.
okay. Yep.
Hello, Mum.
Hi, Mum. How are you?
We've been family friends for a long time, and it's great to say.
Yep.
And I know your mother very well,
Yep.
and it's great to say hello. So there we go.
Yep. She'd be loving this.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Much
Thank you.
appreciated. I loved your analysis on it.
Thank you.
I loved
yeah.
your thoughts. And until next time,
Yeah.
you're listening to And Still Boxing.
Thank you for listening. If you liked this episode, please subscribe to the channel for future content